The Detroit Pistons absolutely dominated the Los Angeles Lakers in the fourth quarter. This game ended up blowing them out, and we'll break down how they ended this road trip on a high note, going 3-2 on this 5-game Western road trip.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Khahil. I've been covering the Detroit Pistons for the last 4 years for the Locked On Network, been credentialed media member over the last 3 years, and I appreciate all of you guys who make Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. I also got to tell you guys, thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. And also, lastly, today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Later on, we'll discuss the Pistons having too many good guards and why that actually is a good thing the Pistons are dealing with, because it should lead to them consolidating some of them to go fill out some other blanks on the team. We'll talk about it. And also, to wrap up the podcast, we'll review the Western road trip where the Pistons finished 3-2. But let's go ahead and talk about this game against the Los Angeles Lakers, where the Pistons absolutely dominated them 128-106. In the fourth quarter, the Pistons absolutely blitzed them. It was an avalanche of play from the Detroit Pistons. I have to do this. I'm sorry. Before we even talk about the Pistons side of things, before we even talk about how good the Pistons played, before we do any of that, I would not be doing the game of basketball justice. I would not be doing the legends of this game justice. I would not be doing the soul of this game justice if I didn't talk about the absolute disgrace of a performance that Luka Doncic and LeBron James put on in this fourth quarter. The Los Angeles Lakers scored 18 points in this fourth quarter. 10 of those points were from Dalton Knecht, who didn't play until the Pistons were already up by almost 30, and the Lakers emptied their bench with 4 minutes left in the game. So until the 4-minute mark, the Lakers had, 8 points scored? The display that Luka Doncic and LeBron put on in that fourth quarter, they just decided we weren't playing basketball anymore. They decided, basketball, nope, we're not playing that. We're playing acting. We're out on Broadway. What they did that entire fourth quarter, it's worth people going and watch. If you didn't see it, go please watch the fourth quarter. It was truly the most disgraceful basketball, quote-unquote basketball being played I have ever witnessed in my entire life. I mean, that was absolutely embarrassing what Luka and LeBron did out there. They were simply just foul grifting the entire fourth quarter. They weren't even trying to look at the hoop. They weren't even trying to score a bucket. They weren't passing the ball. The Lakers didn't run any offense. It was literally possession after possession after possession of them leading into a defender, throwing their arms up, and when they don't get the call, they pass out of it to the perimeter. Now there's 2 seconds left in the shot clock, and they just throw something up at the rim. But that was their offense the entire fourth quarter, and the Pistons just destroyed them from then on with that. The Pistons absolutely bullied the Lakers. They destroyed them mentally. Luka fouls out by fouling Duncan Robinson on 3 and just sits down after he fouls him. He was begging to get out the game. He didn't want to be out there no more. He didn't want to have to deal with the Pistons. He was asking to please get me out this game. Let me go home. LeBron, happy birthday to you, bud. Great gift for you. What you guys did in that fourth quarter is a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. And I'm going to tune into Locked On Lakers because I need to know how fans feel about that. There's no way Lakers fans didn't watch what happened in that fourth quarter and didn't walk away feeling absolutely embarrassed. That's just disgraceful. Now, we'll talk about the Pistons. But like I said, I did not. There was no way I could talk on this podcast about this game and do the game of basketball justice without just highlighting the just disgusting level of play that we saw from them in that fourth quarter. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible. But anyways, the Pistons end up winning the game by 22. Cade had 27 and 11. He was dominating them, picking them apart in the first half. He shot 12 of 19 from the field, 27 points and 68 true shooting. Player of the game. Cade was the best player of the game. But we're going to give player of the game to a different player. Marcus Sasser finally got his first real minutes of the season because Caris LeVert was out. He played 24 minutes, and he scored 19 points, had 5 assists on just 8 shot attempts. Marcus Sasser came in and played extraordinary. He was playing really well at the point of attack defensively. I think his first defensive possession, he forced a turnover on Luka and got the Pistons a fast break bucket. His self-creation within the half court was on display. His shooting ability within the half court was on display. His handle was on display. He played absolutely incredible. He was fantastic. The bench in general was utterly fantastic. Marcus Sasser had 19. Stu had 15. Ivy had 9. Javonte Green had 8. Ron Holland had 11. The bench is what dominated this game for the Pistons. You look at the starters, you got Jalen Duren +1. This is plus minus. Jalen Duren +1. Asar Thompson -11. These last 3 games for Asar have not been very good for him. The starters, it wasn't like the starters played incredibly well outside of Cade. The bench, though, completely mopped the Lakers up and down the floor. And I said this previewing this game on the last podcast. If you are a team that is younger, that has an average age younger than 27, and you run up and down the floor, just give it time. Just wait. You will end up flooding the Lakers. Just give it time. They may keep it close for a quarter. They may keep it close for 2 quarters. Maybe they keep it close for 3, but you will eventually just flood them because they're an old team that doesn't like to move, that doesn't like to run, that doesn't like to play defense. And the Pistons, what were their paint points, actually? Because watching the game, I feel like the Pistons were about to score 90 points in the paint. It felt like they scored every single point in the paint. I'm struggling to find the paint numbers here. I know, according to Pivot Fade, they went 12 of 19 in the paint. So what they had, they had more than 24 points in the paint. That can't be right. Restricted area. They're not even counting that. So if you count the paint and restricted area, that's 37 points or 37 made field goals. So that would be 64. I think they might have had more points than that. Either way, they dominated in the paint. That's the overall point. They dominated the paint. The Lakers don't want that physicality. They don't really want to play defense longer than 5 seconds. And the Pistons, who are a young team that likes to run and plays a team brand of basketball, you will eventually weigh on the Lakers. And that is what happened in this game. The Pistons ended this road trip 3-2. We said they needed to bounce back and beat the Lakers. They're a better team than the Lakers. They couldn't lose this game. And in front of Tom Gores, who was on the sidelines, they dominated the Lakers. They dominated them. This was a game they played without Tobias Harris, basically. After 5 minutes, he was ruled out. Karis LeVert, he didn't play in this game. He was ruled out before the game with an injury. Duncan Robinson didn't play very well. Again, like I said, Asar didn't play his best game. He didn't play very well. But despite that, the Pistons bench came in and just flooded the Lakers. The game ball should be split up and given to Marcus Sasser, Javonte Green. Javonte Green played 31 minutes in this game. He's played the second most minutes of any player on the floor. There was a stretch in the first half where I feel like he played 15 straight minutes. He was really good in this game. Javonte Green, Marcus Sasser, Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Stewart, and Ron Holland split the game ball amongst all of them. Give them all the belt after the game. Where, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Pistons hand out, a dog pound belt, whatever, after each game. Give all of them one. The entire bench unit. Entire bench unit was absolutely tremendous. I think the Pistons maybe found something. Found something maybe is a little too strong. I don't want to overreact to one game sample. But there was something that really looked intriguing. And that was the play of Marcus Sasser and Jaden Ivey playing together. Those two guys looked pretty well together on the floor. We'll talk about why the Pistons now face a problem of having too many good guards and why it should be an easy solution and a good problem for the Pistons to have. We'll break it down coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night, before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a way to kick off the weekend with an NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Time have become an appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. The timing is perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, Check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sports partner of the NBA. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. It's another great way to support the podcast. And all of you guys who are already everydayers for the Pistons or the Locked On Pistons podcast, if you want to take it to the next level, join our Everydayer Club where you can get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Pistons compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. And you can also join the Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server where you'll have a special channel just for Locked On Pistons community. But then if you want to join any other community across the Locked On community that maybe you're a Cowboys fan, maybe you're a hockey fan, whatever, you can join those communities as well over on Discord. You can find that over at lockedonpistons.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes below to learn more. The Pistons have a problem. It's a good problem. It should be, I think, an easily solved problem. But I think it's a problem. The Pistons have way too many good guards. Way too many good guards and way too many guards that they need to play. And there's a difference between having depth and then having an overabundance of a position that you don't need. Marcus Sasser is someone I wrote about in the offseason for the Substack and talked about how every time he plays, he flashes this scoring ability that looks incredibly elite. Now, he has other areas of his game that needed improvement. He's small, so it kind of limits everything he can do across the impact of basketball. But he is a legit scorer, a very legit scorer, a very legit shooter, and that's something that the team needs, especially within the half court. And he looked fantastic in this game. He finally got a chance after suffering an injury earlier in the year, not really getting a chance. And now he gets his chance, and he looks absolutely incredible. That's one guy. Obviously, Cade Cunningham. Duncan Robinson we're counting as a guard because they play him exclusively basically at the 2. So you got Cade, Duncan, you got Sasser, who just played tremendous. You got Ivey, who is going to get his minutes and is starting to play a little better and is a priority from this front office to try to figure out what they have. So he's a priority. That's 4. You got Dennis. That's 5. And then you got Harris. That's 6. You got 6 guards that all theoretically believe they could play, who have all really played really good minutes for you. You don't need 6 guards. Heck, you don't need 5. The Pistons, I think, have a good problem to solve, and that is they should absolutely be nearing the time of consolidating some of those guys and going and filling another position that they are weak at. It's okay to have depth at a position when you don't have a glaring hole at another position. I believe the Pistons have a glaring hole or glaring weakness at another position for you to have that much investment into your guard position with 6 key guards when your best player is a guard. Having that much depth behind there while you're struggling, I would say, at a different position doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to do so. So I believe by the end of January, I believe the Pistons should be trying to trade one of those guards. And I believe they should be trying to trade Caris LeVert. Now, Caris LeVert is a veteran. He's not on a crazy contract, but it's not like his value is incredibly high. I think the Pistons should be trying to move. I'm calling my shot here. I think the Pistons should be trying to move some of those guards, maybe with Tobias and a first, to go get a 4. They have good guards. They have good wings. Your wing rotation is set. You got Asar, you got Ron, you got Javante. Set. I mean, those guys, if you want to count Duncan, it takes some of those minutes. You want to call him a 2-3, go ahead. But your wing rotation, you're all good. You're all good there. You got your 2 guys that you want to build with long-term, and Asar and Ron. Those are your guys. Your best players at guard, and you have 6 of those. You're set there. Your center position, you have maybe the best center rotation in the game with Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. You are all set there as well. What you need is a legit starting 4. If you get a legit starting four, I will come on this podcast and I will start talking about the Pistons representing the East, and I will start talking about them being guaranteed the Eastern Conference Finals berth. I mean, that is clearly what they're missing. That is all they're missing. They have their best player playing top 5 NBA type of talent, how he's playing this year. You have 2 crazy good defensive wings. Either one of them can pop off any given night. It was Ron this game. 2 games ago against Portland, it was Asar. Like Ron and Asar, your wings, all good. All good. Your center position, Jalen Duren's maybe an all-star this year. Oh, and backing him up, you maybe have the best defensive big in basketball outside of Wemby. Like, you have so many good things with this team filled out at the guard position, at the wings, at the center position. You just need a 4. You just do. And I look, I hate to do this. I don't take joy in doing this. It's not fun. Tobias, he is a great vet. He is a great vet. In no way am I trying to minimize the impact in which Tobias had on this whole thing turning around last year. He had an incredibly high impact on this culture turning around. He had an incredibly high impact on them getting out of the dumps that they were in. And he was really, really good for them last year. Not just off the court, but on the court, especially in the playoffs as well. He was really good for them. With that said, Tobias only played 5 minutes tonight. In the minutes that he didn't, when he left, the Pistons looked really good. And he played good in those 7 minutes. He did. Or in those 5 minutes. He had 7 points. He was playing good individually. But the Pistons looked good when Tobias was off the floor. Really good. During the win streak, when Tobias was out, they looked really good. The minutes with Stu and Duren have looked really good. Without Tobias, maybe you can test out Asar and Ron minutes where you move Asar up to the 4, play him with Stu. Those would look really good. And then if you look over, last podcast, I said what the on-off was with Tobias. I was incorrect. Or I shouldn't say incorrect. I looked at these stats with PBP stats. I should have been looking at Data Baller, because Data Baller takes out all low leverage possessions. So all like end of game situations, that like blowouts, things that don't, the possessions that don't matter. They take those minutes out. So they only include the high leverage moments, which is basically games that aren't blowouts at the end of the game, whatever. In those minutes, in 592 minutes with Tobias on the floor, they are 1.7. They're winning their minutes by 1.7 points. When he's off, they're winning those 827 minutes by 11.5 points. They are 10 points better with Tobias off the floor this year. 10 points. 10. That's crazy. I'm not... If there was a way for the Pistons to trade for a 4, and maybe there is. But if there was a way for the Pistons to trade for a 4 that really unlocked this team in the half court and really spaced the floor out even more, if they were able to trade for one of those without having to give up Tobias and you allow him to just be a bench player, you re-sign him and let him retire here like he wants to do, if there was a way to do that, I'm all on board with it. I'm all on board with Tobias retiring a Piston. I know how much the city means to him. I know that his family now is from here. Like, I get that he wanted to retire here. That's all fine and dandy. If you can find a way to get a starting 4 without having to move him, then great. The problem is, it seems like that's the only real way because he's the salary matcher. Now, if you can take Harris and I don't really know what other contract you could really throw out there. Maybe Harris and a first, and maybe that gets you something. I doubt it. If you can do it, I'd love to do it. Cause if you told me would I rather have Tobias retire here or not, yeah, I'd like to have him retire here. Because also that gets word out throughout agencies, throughout the players that the Pistons took care of Tobias and they brought him back knowing he wanted to retire here and they allowed him to retire here. I understand all of that. But at the end of the day, it's about winning championships. It's about winning playoff series. And it's so very clear that the Pistons have what they need at the guard. They have what they need at the wing. They have what they need at the center position. All they need is a 4, and right now Tobias this year has not been the exact plus that he was last year. He's another year older. He's not playing as well. That's all fine. But especially with you having 6 guards that are all, whenever they play, maybe not whenever they play, because Harris has been up and down. Danis, as of late, has been a little up and down, and Marcus just got his chance. But you get what I'm saying. 6 guards that when you see them play, have a chance of playing really well, all of them. You need to consolidate some of those. You need to go ahead and remove some of those guys and turn it into a strength at another position, because you need to do that. So it's a good problem to have. I think they should take advantage of it and make a move at the deadline. Now, the deadline's in February. We're going to be we're 1 day away from 2026, so it'll be about a month until the deadline. We'll see what they do. But I guess the next question I would have as well is, like, if Harris is healthy next game, do you play him? He's been bad for a few weeks now. Do you play Harris when he comes back? Like, Marcus just dropped 19 and 24. 19 and 24 minutes. I don't think they'd bench, like, the interesting thing to me, I'm not going to lie to you. The interesting thing to me is that Ivey continues to not see as many minutes as everybody else. Like, we just watched him play 25 this last game. Now he's back down to 17 while Marcus gets 24. I mean, that's pretty interesting to me. I'm not going to lie. But, like, is Harris going to play when he comes back and gets healthy? Should he play? I guess is the question. And with another piece of sample size that the Pistons looked really good without Tobias, do you think there's any, like, chance that JB looks at the starting lineup and says, maybe we take Tobias out? Maybe we take Tobias out. I don't know. But I do know the Pistons have too many guards, and I do know they need to trade some of them and go get a 4. It's very clear, so clear. I think anybody can see it. Let me know what you think. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. Coming up, we'll review the Western road trip, how it went, some things to take away from, some things to change moving forward, and how they can walk into 2026 looking like an even better team than the one they were this year, which includes being one of the best teams in the NBA. We'll talk about it coming up. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where GameTime comes in. The GameTime app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, without the guesswork. Browsing the GameTime app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding ticket takes takes a few taps. Features like the zone deals help unlock great seats at even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the GameTime app today and get in on the action with GameTime. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. The Western road trip is done. It is finished. They've made it through. They got out of there. 3-2. Now they start off 2-0, then they lost 2 straight. It looked a little scary there for a second. It looked like maybe they were going to finish 2-3, and we were going to be like, what's going on? But they ended up dominating the Lakers as they should have. They should have beat the Jazz. I'll give them the Clippers game because Kawhi just turned straight up into Michael Jordan. So, like that, it is what it is. But if you go into a 5-game Western road trip and you tell me you're walking out on the other side of it 3-2, you take it. I think you just take that. Would you have loved to finish better? Obviously. But 3-2 over a 5-game Western road trip, you take that. That's a good finish. And the Pistons now still find themselves atop of the Eastern Conference and continuing to try to build a lead over the Knicks. The Knicks are coming, but the Pistons get this win over the Lakers, handle the Western road trip with I think pretty successfully. And keep the lead extended. Some takeaways from the Western road trip I think we can move into 2026 with. First thing, the defense has been slipping as a bit. That's my biggest concern during this stretch. Over the last 5 games, They have the 17th best defense in the NBA, allowing 118 points per 100 possessions. Not great. Some reasons for that, I believe. One, I don't think Asar has been as good during this stretch. He was good against Portland. He was really good against Sacramento. But then he was not very good against Utah. He was not very good against the Clippers. And he was not very good against the Lakers. So I think Asar, these last 3 games, not playing at his best, I think really hurt them on the defensive end of the floor. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is they kind of got blitzed by a Kawhi 55-pointer, and that kind of swings things a bit. The other thing is against Utah, you got Keontae George just went crazy on them. They didn't have any answer for him. Was that the game Asar was in foul trouble? I might be remembering that game wrong. That might have been a different game. No, that was the game that Asar had 3 turnovers in the first quarter and didn't end up playing a lot. And then that also people were speculating about, asthma, whatever. So they didn't have no one to really guard Keontae George, and that was a real problem in that game. But overall, the defense, and J.B. Bickerstaff has spoken about this after practice recently, that he feels like the defense has been slipping a little bit over the last few games. I think that I don't think that's anything to be concerned about heavily. I do think that obviously Asar is going to play better. Like, he had a rough 3-game stretch. He'll be fine. Once he starts playing better, like, the team will be fine. I think that's the main concern with that. Once Asar plays better, like, you'll be good. Just a rough 3-game stretch from him. So defense, it was bad during this stretch, but I think that will turn around. The other thing to take away from this stretch is that despite the Pistons going 3-2 and having some of those bad losses, they still, during that road trip, had the 8th best net rating. They still had the 6th best offense. And they still did a pretty good job of rebounding the basketball. They were 4th in offensive rebound percentage. They were 2nd in steal percentage. They were 5th in block. So, like, they played pretty well, to be honest. Like, there was a lot of overreactions to how they played during the 5-game road trip. But honestly, they played pretty well. Another takeaway I have during this road trip is that, we just talked about it, that they're seeing that they have a lot of guards that they're going to have to go to. I guess another takeaway should be that Jaden Ivey has looked a little better as the road trip went on. Over the last 5 games, he scored in double figures 3 times. Now, one of the games he went 2 of 10 from the field, so that wasn't great. But overall, over this stretch, he had 10 points while shooting 54% from the floor and 64% from deep. So he was shooting really well from beyond the arc. Hopefully, he continues to play well. And we saw him cross over 20 minutes or 25 minutes for the first time all year. So that was a big takeaway from the road trip. And then lastly, my final takeaway would be, it's kind of it is Pistons related, but it kind of isn't Piston related. Nikola Jokic, thankfully, avoided serious injury. I don't know if anyone saw it, but he had like a leg injury happen in his previous game, and it looked bad, but thankfully he avoided serious injury. He's going to be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. So we're all happy to hear that. The reason why I bring that up is that Cade Cunningham, I think, because it looks like Jokic will be taken out of all awards because he won't get to 65 games. Cade, we're above 57 true shooting. You're averaging 26.5, almost 10 assists a game. You're leading your team to the first seed in the East. You continue to play extremely well during this road trip. Your team's winning your minutes by 7.6 points. You're drawing more free throws than ever. You're more efficient than ever. You're better on defense than ever. You're passing the ball better than ever. Look, man. Is there a chance that Cade could find himself finishing top 3 in MVP voting? If he continues to play well going into 2026, I think so. I think there's a chance we might be witnessing Cade get a top 3 MVP finish. And that would be amazing. That would be crazy. But overall, I think a successful Western road trip. The defense slipped a little bit, but I think that will get back to normal once their best defensive player plays a little more, because he starts playing better and looks more like himself. I actually thought he started this game off against Luka really well in the first quarter, and then as the game went on, he just started to play worse. He fouled a little too much. I think he picked up 2 fouls in like 2 minutes in the second quarter, which was very not smart. And then in that third quarter, I mean, the bench just took over. You didn't even need to see him again. So he'll be fine. I think once, the new year comes around, who's their next game actually? Let's look at what their next game is. Is it the Hawks? Who's on New Year's? No, the Heat. They play the Heat. Oh, this is actually an interesting stretch. They got the Heat, Cavs, and Knicks coming up. That actually is going to be an interesting stretch to see. But successful road trip, 3-2, still top of the Eastern Conference. Extended the lead over the New York Knicks. Let me know how you guys felt about this win and the overall Western road trip. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there, and peace out, everybody.